Exposed, my daughter's heartwarming ultimatum that transformed our relationship in just 30 days. Mark had always been a hard-working man. At 45, he put in long hours at the factory, spending more time tinkering with machines than connecting with the most precious part of his life, his daughter, Lily. Now, with graduation looming and a new world just beyond the horizon, the weight of unspoken words hung heavily between them. The flickering light in her eyes had faded, replaced by a ghost of resentment. He looked at her and saw a future he couldn't protect, and he felt like a ship lost at sea. On that sweltering summer evening, the air crackling with tension, Lily's frustration erupted. "You have no idea who I am," she shouted, her voice echoing off the walls. "If we don't figure this out in 30 days, I'm leaving. This town, this life, you." Each word punctured Mark's heart. He was terrified and heartbroken. He needed her, but she was ready to break free. Swallowing his pride and longing to reconnect, Mark agreed, though he felt a knot of panic tightening in his chest. They embarked on their 30-day journey, unaware of how it would shake the foundations of their relationship. Days turned into blurred memories as they volunteered in underprivileged neighborhoods. They painted walls, served meals, and listened to stories of struggle. With each experience, Mark's old-fashioned beliefs crumbled, and he began to see how Lily's world differed from his own. One afternoon, amidst laughter and the smell of fresh paint, he finally shared stories from his childhood, revealing fears he carried from his own father, fears of failure, of losing the ones he loved. "Dad," she whispered one night as they shared a simple meal, "maybe you should let me in more." It was a tiny, hopeful moment that felt like a ray of sunlight shining through the clouds. Yet, even as they grew closer, there lingered an unspeakable chasm, a weight of expectations that clung to both their shoulders. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue, but just as they began to connect, tragedy struck. A factory accident rattled their little town, leaving everyone in despair. Mark felt his world crashing down, grappling with the fear of losing everything he'd worked for. Lily, too, struggled under the weight of it all. Hope became a fragile thread, fraying between them. Just when it seemed they might finally bridge the gap, a misunderstanding erupted, sending them plummeting back into isolation. Mark's instinct to keep her safe blinded him, while Lily's hunger for independence pushed her further away. As they stood at this crossroads, Mark felt the crushing weight of his fears pressing against him. How could he cling to the past while his daughter yearned for a future that frightened him? The sun dipped low, casting a golden hue that mirrored the hope they both desperately sought. Yet it faded too quickly, leaving a haunting silence heavy in the air. How would they find a way back to each other before it was too late? Mark couldn't shake the feeling of suffocation that had settled in ever since that day. It was as if the weight of the world rested squarely on his shoulders. He stared out the window, watching the sun dip behind the horizon, painting the sky an array of colors that seemed to mock his despair. How could a father feel so lost in the shadow of his own child? Meanwhile, Lily locked herself in her room, her sanctuary from the chaos outside. She was buried under piles of schoolwork, but the pages blurred into a sea of confusion. The factory accident had rocked her, too. The uncertainty left her feeling raw and exposed, a stark contrast to the confident girl she pretended to be. Every tick of the clock reminded her of the thin line between her dreams and her reality. As the first few days of their 30-day challenge dragged on, they both felt the pressure of their silent battle. It was during one of their outings, a trip to the local shelter to serve dinner, when an unexpected moment cracked the wall between them. In the dimly lit dining room, they dished out steaming bowls of chili to families in need. Mark watched as Lily chatted and joked with the children, her laughter a musical note in the otherwise somber atmosphere. It had been so long since he'd seen that joy. "Dad, you should come talk to this little girl," Lily called over her shoulder, motioning him to join her. Her eyes sparkled with warmth as she knelt next to a tiny girl with pigtails, clutching a teddy bear. As Mark approached, he felt a flicker of pride. This was the daughter he knew, the compassionate spirit who cared deeply for others. For a moment, he stood in that glow, reveling in the sight. But as he caught Lily's gaze, the pride morphed into fear. What if he was losing her to this new world of hers? Would she even consider returning home once she graduated? Days passed like that, a careful balance between hope and dread. In the evenings, they took turns sharing stories, peeling back layers they didn't realize they'd built over the years. However, every effort felt like a drop in a vast ocean of misunderstanding. Just when they began to understand each other, a stray comment or a whispered frustration would ignite old wounds. One evening, while watching a movie in the living room, Mark slipped up again. "You're going to regret leaving this town, Lily. The world outside isn't what you think," he said, oblivious to the storm brewing in her eyes. "Dad!" she snapped, sitting straight up. "How can you even say that after everything? This is where dreams go to die." Mark's heart sank. He had never intended to push her away further. "I'm just trying to protect you," he pleaded, hating the defensive edge that crept into his voice. "Protect me? Or protect yourself?" she shot back. The air crackled with the intensity of their emotions, words ricocheting back and forth like bullets in a war. As the tension simmered, they both felt the pressure building. The clock was ticking, and each angry exchange only served to widen the chasm. Could they break this cycle? Could they find the courage to confront their fears, or would the 30 days slip away, leaving nothing but echoes of a love that once flourished? Mark took a deep breath, ready to speak, but the words caught in his throat as he spotted her, tears pooling in her eyes. In that moment, he understood they were both scared. Scared of change, scared of loss, and scared of what the future would hold for them. "Lily," he whispered, reaching out, but would she let him bridge that gap? The answer loomed heavy in the air, begging for resolution, but would either of them dare to take that step forward? The silence was thick, yet Mark felt the weight of his heartbeat echoing in the space between them. He searched Lily's tear-streaked face, wishing he could erase the pain reflected in her eyes. "Lily, I didn't know you felt that way," he managed, his voice barely above a whisper. Lily's breath trembled as she wiped her cheeks with the back of her hand. "Of course you didn't," she said softly, almost defeated. "You've been too caught up in your own worries to notice mine." The truth of her words stung. Mark had been so focused on his fears, his dread of losing her, that he hadn't taken a step back to actually see what she was going through. Swallowing hard, he continued, "I'm sorry. I just want to keep you safe. I just want to understand." "Understanding requires listening, Dad," she replied, a mix of frustration and hope flickering in her eyes. "You always say I'm allowed to speak my mind, but when I do, it feels like you shut down." The words landed hard. He remembered their countless conversations where he nodded along, but his mind was miles away, worrying about the past or drafting a plan for the future. He felt the desperation rising in him again, and he couldn't let it suffocate him, or Lily, anymore. "Then let us really talk," he said, finding a flicker of resolve. "Let us open up. No defenses, no walls." He moved closer, patting the spot next to him on the couch, inviting her into a safe space. Lily hesitated, caught between the desire for connection and fear of vulnerability. But after a long moment, she slipped into the seat beside him, her body tense but willing. Mark took a steadying breath, feeling the familiar tremor of uncertainty but pushing it aside. "What do you want, Lily? What do you really want from all this?" he asked. She looked away, toward the window that now held the evening stars, the lights of homes twinkling like dreams in the distance. "I want to be me, not just your daughter, not just a good student. I want to explore. I want to go out there and chase my dreams, even if it scares me." Mark felt his heart race. The younger version of Lily, the one who always climbed trees and designed imaginary worlds, was stirring in her words. "And what if your dreams take you far from here?" he asked, unsure if he wanted to hear the answer. "Then maybe they should," she said softly, locking eyes with him. "Maybe I need to experience the world. But it doesn't mean I don't love you. I need you to believe in me." Those words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. Mark felt a warmth nurturing deep down, one that slowly pushed back against his fears. Could he actually support Lily on this path? "I do believe in you," he said, voices hushed but firm, eyes shining. "But I'm terrified. Let us make this challenge worth something. Show me what you want and I'll do everything to help you get there." Lily's eyes widened, a mixture of surprise and relief flooding her face. "Really?" "Yes," he affirmed, feeling a bond rekindling between them, crackling with hope. "Let us make it a real partnership." A tentative smile broke through her earlier despair, and Mark felt a flicker of relief wash over him. They'd taken a giant step forward, but the journey was far from over. "Okay, then," she said, her voice steadier now. "Let us figure out how I can study in a bigger city. Maybe an internship that aligns with my dreams?" "Absolutely," Mark replied, feeling lighter. "And I'll help research all the options. But promise me, we'll do this together." "I promise," Lily said, and they both breathed a sigh of relief as they moved closer than they'd been in a long time. That shared moment, the shadows of fear felt less oppressive, and a flicker of warmth ignited between them. Yet, as new plans took shape, an unspoken tension lingered in the air. What challenges awaited them as they stepped into this new dynamic? Would they be strong enough to handle whatever came their way? Just then, a notification chimed on Mark's phone, breaking the fragile stillness. He glanced at the screen, eyebrow raising at the unseen news. "Lily," he said, turning serious. "You need to see this." Mark's heart raced as he stared at the screen. The notification wasn't from a message app, it was an alert from a local news site. "It's about an internship program," he explained, his voice tense with urgency. "For students. They have a placement in the city you mentioned." Lily leaned in closer, her interest piqued. "Really? What does it say?" He pressed his finger on the screen, expanding the article. "It's a competitive program, but look." He pointed to a photo accompanying the text. A vibrant image of a bustling city skyline, with young people gathered in a bright, modern office. They were laughing, connecting, and clearly thriving. "They're even accepting applications within the next month." Lily's eyes sparkled. This could really be it. She could hardly contain herself. Mark felt a rush of pride looking at her. This was the spirit he always knew was there, just waiting to emerge. "But it says here they want a personal statement," Mark continued, feeling a slight shadow of doubt creep in. "You'll have to share your story, your vision, and they say authenticity is key." "I can do that," Lily exclaimed, determination flooding her. "I want to share everything, the good and the bad. They need to see who I really am." Her enthusiasm was infectious, enveloping the room like a warm hug. Mark, though excited for her, couldn't suppress the flicker of fear. "Lily, what if it doesn't work out? What if they don't pick you?" Her smile faded slightly, but then she squared her shoulders. "Dad, what if it does? What if this is my chance? I'm ready to take the risk." The boldness in her voice made him feel both proud and terrified. "Okay," he said slowly, searching for the right words. "But maybe we should work on that statement together. I want to help you make it the best it can be." Her face lit up again. "That would be awesome. I could write down my thoughts, and you can help me refine it. Then we can submit it together." With a smile, he nodded. They spent the next hour bouncing ideas off one another, Lily sharing her aspirations, her dreams of becoming a designer, the projects she had in mind, and how she felt nobody truly understood what was inside her heart. Mark listened, absorbing every word, taking notes. As they crafted her story, a bond tightened each moment, building upon their newfound trust. Together, they filled the room with laughter and tears, memories woven with the fabric of hope. But as the night deepened, Mark's phone chimed again. Another alert, a follow-up from the same news source. Hesitating, he glanced at it. "Lily, they just published something else. It's an interview with past interns. They're sharing their experiences and some hit roadblocks." Listen to this. As he read through the challenges they faced, the rejection letters, the self-doubts, the moments that made them question if they were enough. Lily's expression shifted from excitement to concern. "Dad, what if I'm not ready for this?" she whispered, the confidence from earlier slowly ebbing away. Mark's heart sank, conflicted between wanting to reassure her and wanting to be honest. "It will be hard, Lily. But that's the thing about dreams, they never come easy. Do you want to hear what they did to overcome?" She nodded slowly, apprehensive but curious. As Mark began to read again, he realized they stood at the edge of a cliff, full of potential yet fraught with fear. They could either vault into the unknown together or clamp down on the safety of the familiar, stuck in the shadows of regret. "Lily," he said, his voice steady, "we're in this together. And I promise I won't let you fall." Just then, the phone chimed, a third notification, a message from his sister. "Have you talked to Mom lately?" Mark felt a lump form in his throat, the turmoil of family stepping back into the fray. Would this old wound complicate their newfound plans? Turning to Lily, a new tension electrifying the air, he could see questions dancing in her eyes. Did she want to know? Did she want to confront their shared past, even as they were stepping into a new future? "Lily," he began, knowing they were about to face more than one boundary. "There's something else we need to talk about." Mark took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the words that hung between them. He could see the mix of curiosity and worry playing across Lily's face. They had been moving forward together, embracing the excitement of dreams, yet now an old chapter threatened to drag them backward. "What is it, Dad?" Lily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Her eyes were wide, sensing the seriousness in his tone. "Your mom," he began, the knot in his stomach tightening. "She's been well, she has her own struggles. It's been tough for her since the divorce, and sometimes I think she might not be ready to support you in this." Lily's expression changed, a hint of disappointment clouding her bright eyes. "You mean she doesn't want to help me? Doesn't she care?" "It's not that simple," he replied, each word heavy with years of tension. "She cares, Lily, but there's a lot going on in her life. You know how she can be. Sometimes, when things get rough, she shuts down." The realization hit Lily hard, and for a moment, silence filled the room. The excitement of the internship news faded, replaced by the looming shadows of their family history. Mark could see her processing this new information, the realization that she might need to shoulder the burden of their complicated past. "But I need her support," she said finally, her voice trembling slightly. "I can't just go into this without her backing me up. It's too big." "I know," he nodded, wanting nothing more than to shield her from disappointment. "But this is your journey, and you'll need to find your strength in it." Lily's eyes flashed with defiance. "I don't want to make excuses for her. I want her to be there for me." His heart ached for her, the weight of parental responsibility heavy on his shoulders. "Lily, I'm not asking you to forgive everything. It's okay to be mad. But just know that you're strong enough to do this, even if she's not in your corner." The possibility of standing alone seemed daunting. Mark wished he could take away her pain, to magically fix their family dynamic, but life didn't work that way. "What if I fail?" she whispered, her bravado slipping. "We all fail, Lily," he said gently, touching her hand. "What matters is how we rise afterward. Remember that. It's a part of growing up. But what if this is my one chance? What if I never get another?" she asked, her voice tinged with fear. "We'll make more chances," he reassured her, even as doubt crept into his own heart. "And if you want, I can help you write to her. Maybe reach out, share your hopes. Sometimes, the simplest words can bridge the biggest gaps." Lily considered this, her gaze drifting. "You think she'll understand?" "I believe she might, if you show her how much this means to you," Mark replied, hoping desperately that his words would ring true. He watched as a flicker of hope ignited in Lily's eyes, a fire he had missed. "I'll do it. I'll write to her. But I want you with me when I hit send. No matter what happens, I want us to face this together." "Absolutely," Mark said, gratitude washing over him. Her willingness to fight for that connection felt like a small miracle in their rift world. As the tension began to melt away, a renewed sense of urgency emerged. Suddenly, Lily's dream transformed in front of their eyes. It was no longer just about her internship. It was about healing, about standing together amid uncertainty, pushing against the shadows of their history. "Okay, then let us finish that personal statement," Mark said, the spark in his voice igniting excitement. "With your new story, let us show them who you really are." And as they transitioned back to crafting her words, a profound sense of unity flowed between them. Their laughter resumed, blending with the anticipation of what lay ahead. But as they dove into her thoughts, a final notification chimed on Mark's phone, pulling him from their creative flow. His heart sank again. It was an update about his sister's message. "Mark, we really need to discuss Mom's health." Mark's breath caught in his throat as he glanced at Lily. They were still standing on the edge of their cliff, balanced precariously between dreams and harsh realities. How would they tackle another layer of their complicated lives? "Dad," Lily urged, her expression turning serious again. "What is going on?" Realizing they were facing far more than just a personal statement, Mark hesitated, knowing whatever lay ahead could redefine their bond. "Lily, it's time to talk about our family, all of it. Are you ready for this?" Lily's brows knitted together as she felt the intensity of her father's words. "What do you mean, Dad? What did your sister say?" The knot in Mark's stomach tightened further, and he took another deep breath, gathering his thoughts. It felt like opening a can of worms. "She's worried about Mom," he finally said, his voice trembling slightly. "She mentioned that things have gotten worse, and we need to think about how to help her." "But I thought she was doing better." Lily's voice quivered, shaking under the weight of concern. She had been clinging to the hope that her mother was finding her way, that their family would heal over time. "Sometimes it looks better from the outside than it really is," Mark replied softly, rubbing the back of his neck. He felt the weight of responsibility settle heavily on his shoulders. "We need to face the truth, even when it's hard." Lily's eyes sparkled with emotion, frustration, sadness, fear, all blending into a storm. "I don't want to deal with her right now. She left us when things got tough." "Why should I care?" "Because she's still your mom, and that connection matters," Mark urged gently. He felt the tension in the air thicken with each passing second. "I know it's difficult. But ignoring it won't help either of us. We have to talk about this as a family." She turned away, staring out the window where dusk started to cloak the world. The vibrant colors of sunset felt like a bittersweet irony, beautiful yet tinged with pain. "So, what do we do?" "We reach out," he said firmly. "We start by understanding. Maybe we can get her the help she needs. This is part of the healing, not just for us, but for her too." "But what if she doesn't want help?" Lily shot back, her frustration mingling with fear. "What if she doesn't want to talk to us at all?" Mark could sense the creeping dread in her voice, and he sat down beside her. "Then we try harder. We show her that we care, that we are still here, despite everything." He placed his hand on her shoulder, leaning in so she could see the sincerity in his eyes. "You are stronger than you think, Lily. This is about you finding your voice." Her face softened at his words. "But what if my voice doesn't matter to her?" "It matters to you, and that is what's important," he assured her. "We have to try. You could start by writing that letter, telling her everything you want her to know." Lily looked down at her hands, fingers fidgeting as thoughts swirled in her head. "But what if she doesn't respond? What if it's just another way to remind me of how disappointing she can be?" Mark's heart sank. He understood those fears all too well. That's a risk we have to take. Life is full of risks, but it's also about putting our hearts out there. After a moment, Lily nodded slowly, though uncertainty still clouded her features. "Okay," she whispered, her voice just above a breath. "I'll write the letter, but I need you right there with me." "Always," Mark promised. A flicker of determination began to light up in Lily's eyes, but before they could dive into the writing, the silence in the room thickened again, the weight of the moment hung there, lingering in the air as they both knew this was no longer just about a letter or a family connection. It was about forgiveness, about coming to terms with hurt, and healing through courage. Dad, Lily's voice trembled slightly. What if I pour my heart out and it doesn't change anything? If you put your heart into it, it will change something. Even if it doesn't change her, it will change how you view everything, he replied, trying to keep his voice steady, though doubts clawed at his mind. They had a fragile foundation to repair, and it was their emotions that would rebuild it piece by piece. Mark's phone buzzed again, breaking through their heavy silence. He glanced at the notification. It was another message from his sister. Mark, it read, I think it's important we come together soon. Looks like we need to talk as a family, he said, swallowing hard. But tonight, we start with you. As Lily took a deep breath and opened her laptop, ready to spill her heart's truths. Onto the screen, Mark felt himself holding onto the edge of his seat. Was this finally the breakthrough they needed? Dad, what if this isn't the end of our problems? She asked, her eyes narrowing on the blank page. It won't be, he admitted, but it can be the start of something new. Mark watched his daughter's fingers hover above the keyboard, both excited and scared for her. What would she reveal, and how might it reshape their lives? Ready? He asked, feeling the pulse of the moment quicken. Let us do this, she replied, nodding. And as he took a deep breath, a sliver of hope pierced through his anxiety. In that intimate space, they were once again poised on the precipice of change, ready to leap into the unknown together. Would her words be enough to begin the healing they so desperately needed? Lily stared at the blinking cursor on her screen, the weight of her thoughts pressing down heavier than before. Each moment felt like an eternity as she thought about the words she wanted to share. What could she possibly say that would reach her mother? Just start, Mark encouraged gently, leaning closer, his eyes trained on her. The room around them fell silent, the hum of the outside world forgotten. A wave of vulnerability washed over Lily as she found her voice amidst the chaos in her heart. What if I say too much? She murmured, biting her lip. Then you say too much, Mark replied, a soft smile breaking through the tension. Better to pour your heart out than keep it bottled up. This is your chance to be honest. Taking a deep breath, she let her fingers dance over the keys. Words began to appear, clumsy at first, but grown stronger with each sentence. Dear Mom, she typed, her pulse quickening. I don't know where to start. She paused, her thoughts tumbling into a swirling flux of emotions. Memories flashed through her mind, barely their moments of laughter, blissful summers spent together, and the aching loss of a mother who had become a stranger. I want to understand you, she continued, feeling the words flow more freely now. But it hurts. You hurt us by leaving when we needed you most. Mark placed a steadying hand on her back, feeling the weight of her emotions resonate within him. It's okay to express how you feel, Lily. This honesty is part of healing. Trust in that, he whispered, his voice warm and reassuring. Lily nodded, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. I miss you, Mom. I want you back. She hesitated again, feeling fear creep in. I'm scared of reaching out, scared of being hurt all over again. Take it slow. No one's rushing you. Just right, Mark encouraged, quietly confident. She continued typing, pouring out every fear and hope, each word gradually strengthening her resolve. I want to talk to you, to understand what you're going through. You're my mom, and I still love you. With uncertainties still lingering, her feelings seemed tangled like fishing line. But what if you don't want my love anymore? What if I'm not enough? Lily, you are enough just by being you, Mark chimed in, gripping her shoulder for support. Your feelings matter. Remember, this letter isn't just about her, it's about you finding closure. As she read through her words, a mix of pride and vulnerability surged within her. This didn't feel like just a message. It was a lifeline, a bridge she was building towards her mother and towards healing herself. Each keystroke was a step towards the unknown, yet there was a growing flame of determination within her. I'm ready to find a way to heal our family, she wrote, heart in her throat, but I need you to be willing to meet me halfway. Mark felt a swell of emotion fill the room, almost palpable. The air was charged with hope and anxiety alike, a twist of anticipation. Her phone buzzed suddenly, startling them both. Lily glanced at the notification. "It's her," she breathed, her heart racing. Mark quickly leaned over to peek. It was a text from her mother. "I've been thinking about you both. Can we talk?" The ground felt like it shook beneath them. "What do we do?" Lily asked, her eyes wide, hope and fear wrestling for dominance in her heart. Mark took a deep breath, his own worries flooding back. This was their moment, but also a new layer of complexity. "We respond with honesty. Let her know you want to talk. This could be the start we've all been waiting for." Lily's eyes sparkled with a mixture of fear and exhilaration. "What if it brings up even more hurt?" "Then we face it together," he said, his voice steady. "You're not alone in this." And as Lily began to type a response, the cursor blinked on the screen, still vibrating with the emotion they shared. What awaited them on the other side of that message? Would it be a path to healing or another pitfall? Every heartbeat echoed the uncertainty of what lay ahead. But one thing was clear, they had made an important decision to take a step forward, together. In that small room, the air felt charged with possibilities. Could this be the turning point for their family, or was there more to come? Lily's fingers hovered over the keyboard as she wrestled with the words. Her heart raced with the urgency of the moment. She could see the future unfurling before her, a fork in the road where everything could change. She took a deep breath and began to type. "Hi Mom." Each stroke felt monumental. The weight of her past sat on her shoulders, yet here she was, reaching out. "Yes, I want to talk. I need to hear your side." Mark watched her, his expression a mix of pride and concern. "You're doing it," he whispered, as if afraid that speaking too loudly might break the fragile spell they were casting. Just then, Lily hit send. The notification shot through the air like an arrow. It represented hope, vulnerability, and the fear of opening old wounds. For a second, the room felt like a still photograph, capturing their shared breath, the anticipation thick enough to carve. "That's it, Lily. You did it." Mark's enthusiasm broke the tension, and a shy smile flickered on her face. Silence fell again, stretching uncomfortably until her phone buzzed, shattering the stillness. "Is she?" Mark leaned closer. Lily opened the message, her breath hitching in her throat. "Okay, I can talk. How about tomorrow at the cafe?" "Tomorrow?" she echoed. That's so soon. Her mind raced with scenarios, the turmoil churning inside her, a list of questions she wanted answers to, but also the fear that asking might just hurt more. "What time?" Mark asked, his brow furrowed in thought. 5. "Sounds good," he replied, trying to encourage her. "The cafe feels like a neutral ground." Lily nodded, though a pit of uncertainty sat heavily in her stomach. After a few moments, she typed back a response. 5 it is. "See you then." She hit send, and a nervous wave washed over her. "Now what?" she asked Mark, her voice barely above a whisper. "Now we breathe. Let the anticipation settle," he said softly, guiding her out of the storm swirling in her mind. "You've done the hardest part. Tomorrow is just a conversation, right?" A small part of her believed that, while another part felt like a weight had been placed on her heart. Would it really be just a conversation? They spent the rest of the evening talking quietly, determined to fill the silence with optimism. Mark kept sharing encouraging stories of families mending themselves, creating an atmosphere of hope that danced around them. "I just wish I knew what she was feeling," Lily said, gazing out the window as night fell. The streets glimmered softly under the light of street lamps. "I want to understand why she left. Why she felt like she had to." "You might get that chance tomorrow," Mark said, handing her a mug of tea. "Just remember, sometimes, it takes a long journey to find the answers. But it starts with this. You're brave, Lily." As night turned into early morning, she found herself unable to sleep. Questions cluttered her mind. What if they started talking and the wounds were still too raw? What if nothing changed? What if this was just another round of hurt and disappointment? With every tick of the clock, the anxiety beat like a drum in her chest. The sun rose, casting a gentle glow into the room, filling the space with warmth and a sense of new beginnings. But as she prepared for the day ahead, doubt crept in, casting shadows over the light. At the cafe, would her mother truly show up? Would she be ready to confront the pain they both carried? With her heart racing, Lily knew this was only the beginning. Tomorrow could either reinforce all her fears or move her toward a chance of healing they so desperately needed. What awaited her in that small cafe? A confrontation or a chance to finally connect? The uncertainty hung in the air like a heavy cloud, ready to burst. Lily's heart drummed in her chest as the clock ticked closer to 5. The cafe loomed in front of her, a cozy spot with soft lights glowing and the warm aroma of coffee wafting through the air. Yet, the shadows of doubt gripped her tightly. Mark had chosen the table in the corner, his eyes scanning the door with that same mix of pride and worry. When Lily arrived, he stood up, giving her a small smile of encouragement. "Are you ready for this?" "I'm not sure I even know what ready feels like," she replied, her voice shaky. She tried to swallow down the anxious lump in her throat, but it was stubborn, refusing to budge. They slid into the booth, the wooden table cool under her palms. Just as she started to collect her thoughts, the door jingled, and Lily's heart lurched. Her mom walked in, looking uncertain but determined. Time seemed to slow as her mother scanned the cafe, spotting Lily and Mark. "Look, there she is," Mark whispered. Lily's breath caught in her throat. With every step her mother took toward them, 1,000 memories flooded her mind, happy ones, sad ones, all tangled up together. When her mom reached the table, it felt monumental, as if the air was thicker than before, charged with unspoken words. "Hi, Lily," her mother said softly, swallowing hard. "Hi." It was the only word that escaped Lily's lips, the weight of everything hanging in the balance. "Thanks for agreeing to meet," her mother said, a tremor in her voice. There was a moment of silence, thick and heavy, like a fog that refused to lift. "I didn't know if you would come," Lily admitted. "I was afraid." "Afraid of what?" "Of me? Of you?" Her mother interrupted gently, her eyes glistening with something almost fragile. Lily glanced at Mark, who nodded reassuringly. "Of us," she finally replied, her voice a whisper as the truth settled in. "I was just scared that nothing would change." Her mother took a deep breath and sat down, her hands trembling slightly. "I understand. I've been scared too, scared of facing the past. But I want to be here. I want to talk about everything." With those words, the dam broke. Lily opened up about the years of silence, the longing for connection that felt elusive. Each question she asked seemed to crack the porcelain of her mother's carefully curated facade. "I want to know why you left, why it felt easier to go than to stay," Lily finally pressed, her eyes unwavering. Her mother looked lost for a moment, like a deer caught in headlights, but then she spoke, her voice low and filled with regret. "There were things I didn't know how to handle. My own struggles. I thought leaving was the best choice, that it would spare you both from my pain." Lily's heart ached at the admission. "But it didn't, did it? It only made us hurt more." "I see that now," her mother whispered, tears pooling in her eyes. "And I wish I could take it back. I thought I was doing the right thing, but I failed you." The words hung in the air, heavy with truth and the weight of the years apart. Lily felt something shifting within her, a kind of understanding that she hadn't anticipated. Mark watched them from the side, pride building in his chest. This was a turning point, something monumental. But just as the conversation began to flow, Lily's heart raced again. What if this was just the beginning of an even deeper dive into their unresolved feelings? What if they unraveled too much? There was still so much to explore, and yet she felt the unshakable urge to keep going. Would they emerge from this conversation mended or broken, a fresh start or a haunting echo of the past? As they each reached for their cups, Lily steeled herself for what was still to come, knowing that this could change everything or nothing at all. But the truth waited, and she felt a spark of determination. What more was her mother hiding, and what would Lily do with whatever came next? Lily's heart raced as she faced her mother across the table, the weight of their years apart hanging thick in the air. They had finally crossed a bridge, but as the truth began to reveal itself, 1,000 questions flooded her mind. How much would they unearth? Would it break them or bind them tighter together? "Mom, you said leaving felt like the right choice back then," Lily said softly, "but what about now? Do you think it was truly what was best for us?" Her mother's eyes shimmered with unshed tears, and Mark held his breath, leaning forward to catch every word. "For so long, I believed distance would protect you, from my struggles, my pain. I see now that I was wrong," she replied, her voice trembling with emotion. "I didn't want to burden you with my issues, but in doing so, I devastated our family instead." Lily felt a familiar ache in her chest. "Mom, we could have gone through it together. You didn't have to face your battles alone. I wanted to be there for you." The rush of emotion broke through, raw and unfiltered. "I know," her mother whispered. "And I'm so sorry. I thought I was making the right choices, but I'm here now, wanting to change that, wanting you to know I love you." Mark sensed the shift in the room, tangible and electric. He wished to wrap both of them in the warmth of understanding, but it was clear this conversation bore another layer, one that needed to be tackled with sincerity and care. "Mom," Lily said, her voice steadier now, "what do we need to do moving forward? How do we begin to build that trust back?" Her mother looked at her, heartbroken yet hopeful. "I need to be honest about my past struggles, to acknowledge the mistakes I made, and to commit to being better. I want to be part of your life again, not just a shadow lingering at the edge." Lily's brow furrowed, a wave of empathy washing over her. "And I'm ready to let you in, but it will take time. Trust needs to be rebuilt. We can't rush this." Together, her mother agreed, a hint of relief dawning in her expression. The air around them lightened as if a weight had been lifted. Mark beamed, pride swelling within him. Watching them was like witnessing a flower bloom after a long winter, each petal representing a piece of their shared history. He sensed there was still a long road ahead, but the first steps had been taken. "This is just the beginning, isn't it?" he said, his voice warm and supportive. "You both have so much to share, to heal. Patience will be key." Lily nodded, a glimmer of determination in her eyes. "Yes, let's build something real, Mom. It won't be perfect, but let us start by being open about everything. All the pain, the hurt. I want to know it all if we're going to heal. And I want to hear your dreams, Lily," her mother added softly. "I want to know who you are now. I want to support you in becoming who you want to be." Lily smiled for the first time in what felt like ages, a radiant light breaking through the clouds. "I need that, and I wanted to tell you about my internship application, the one we talked about." Her mother's eyes widened with genuine interest. "Really? Tell me everything." As Lily began to share her aspirations, Mark looked on, his heart swelling. They were two souls drifting in the same storm, finally finding their way back to one another. The past might always linger in the shadows, but this moment was theirs, a chance to reforge bonds that had once felt irreparably shattered. They spent the next hour in conversation, laughter mingling with tears as they exchanged stories and fears alike. It felt like a journey. Every word shared was a step toward understanding, a step toward healing, and as the sun dipped low in the sky, bathing the cafe in a warm golden hue, Mark's heart brimmed with hope. This was it, their new beginning, a family finding its way back to each other in the rubble of their past. "Tomorrow's a new day," he said, reaching over to squeeze Lily's hand, then her mother's. "We'll navigate it together." In the soft glow of that cafe, amidst the aroma of coffee and fresh pastries, they began to reshape their family. One conversation at a time. Each word spoken was a brick in the wall of trust slowly rebuilding, a symbol of their commitment to face the future hand in hand. Mark leaned back, a profound sense of peace washing over him. They had embarked on a journey of healing, and every moment brought them closer to a brighter tomorrow. This was their moment, now, If you enjoyed this heartwarming conclusion to Lily and Mark's story, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel. Don't miss out on our next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about this ending. And remember, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who also need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand how essential it is to support the channel through these actions.